welcome back. You're still watching Fut-Afrique. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. Now we know that in the year 2026, the FIFA World Cup is set to head to the USA, Canada, as well as Mexico. This is where it's all going to be taking place. But before we know who's going to be there, these teams need to play within qualifiers. Interesting point comes into the African continent because we then battle amongst each other.
Yeah, wow. Wouldn't it be amazing if we see like a semi-final with 4 African countries?
No, that can't be. That can't be.
Look at the number of teams that would be.
Well, fair enough.
Qualifying from Africa, 9 of them, because the winners of each group are going to qualify for this.
Yes.
And we know that 4 of the runners-ups are going to play playoffs. I'm excited about this. Trust me, it could happen, Itu.
I don't know, but I'm not taking your word for it. That word I'm definitely not taking for it. But
imagine South Africa, Nigeria, Morocco, Tunisia. Oh,
that's solely what it is.
Already.
That's exactly solely what it will only be. It's just going to be a dream. But yes, 9 African countries get to go to the Men's World Cup. It's going to be fairly interesting, though. We know that the qualifiers have already taken place, but an interesting fact is some of the countries have come into South Africa to play their qualifiers.
Yes, we've seen the likes of Namibia. I saw recently the national team was here. And this is just testament to the fact that African football is still developing. Some of these stadiums, infrastructures still need to develop. And that's why we're seeing most of the teams playing their qualifiers at South African soil. On South African soil, and giving the likes of Adelani and Itu a chance to see them live and direct.
Yep, to see them live and direct. Zimbabwe, haven't seen them yesterday play. Since when last? It felt so good. It felt really, really good. But let's get into some of the results that came in, right, during the week. Tunisia, I know, was in action. Yes. Equatorial Guinea as well.
Yes, Equatorial Guinea lost to Tunisia in that game. We also saw Sierra Leone beat Djibouti, and we saw Central African Republic beating Chad 1-0. So those are some of the results that have come through.
Yep, some of the results that come through. One thing that is interesting about these World Cup qualifiers is some of these teams know each other from the AFCON, right? But this is a whole different stage. This is a whole different level.
Right.
So just because you probably had one within the AFCON doesn't necessarily mean that those results are going to trickle down to this level.
Well,
the action continues.
Yes.
The action continues.
I was going to talk to you about that. You know the game I'm looking forward to. Listen, I know I lost a bet to you in the CAF Champions League final, but I'm not losing this week.
Let me know.
Cameroon is going to play Cape Verde. They're both locked on 4 points in their group. And it's going to be an incredible matchup between the Blue Sharks and the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. They're having their own issues in the FA currently, but let's see what they do. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. And also Gambia versus Seychelles.
Before you go to Gambia and Seychelles, let's go back to Cameroon as well as Cape Verde. Those 2 nations, obviously, specifically Cape Verde, they were one of the teams to watch. They were one of the teams, personally, if I'm going to talk about the teams of the tournament in the AFCON.
Cape Verde
absolutely.
Because of what Bafana did to them.
Absolutely.
In the Nations Cup.
Absolutely. But who do you think has a better chance there?
Let me tell you, Cape Verde, you can't write them off because they played beautiful football in the Nations Cup. And Cameroon in recent years, they haven't really been themselves in African football. I'm still waiting for them to show the Cameroon team of the early 90s, your Roger Millers, you know that dance it was doing by the corner flag. I want to see more of that from Cameroon in the World Cup. We're used to seeing Cameroon in the World Cup representing West Africa, but I think the world still needs to see Cape Verde. And I'm for the underdogs.
That's the exciting thing.
To do get much further than they have in recent years. I think it would be so lovely to see Cape Verde represent Africa on the world stage.
Do I think Cape Verde stand a chance? Absolutely.
They do
I mean,
stand
we've seen the work pay off that they've been doing, their investment within football into their country. So it's going to be interesting with them. Another small country, Gambia, though, we know that then when they made their debut within the AFCON, they made it almost all the way. It wasn't all the way, it was almost all the way. Further than what many people have never even been to, right?
Yes.
Quarterfinals is where they got their first attempt. Now let's talk about them going up against the Seychelles. Seychelles, we know, is not necessarily that strong when it comes to football.
Yes, I mean, when people think about Seychelles, they think about holiday
Absolutely.
resorts.
I'm thinking about a floating breakfast.
Yes, but this is African football where so many teams are improving, and like you rightfully said, Gambia are improving. We saw what they did in the Nations Cup. When I think about Gambia, I think about that goal they almost scored, the hand of God there, that was rightfully ruled out, but then they showed that they're a very good team. And this game is also going to be another one I want to see. Gambia versus Seychelles. For me, I'm putting my neck out there and saying Gambia is going to win this one.
Well, it's a battle out in Group D. Not all these teams can make it all the way into the World Cup. Only a selective few, 9 to be exact. But who will it be? It's match day 3, in full swing. But what's interesting is that after 90 minutes, that's when we know as to who's getting closer to booking their spot for the World Cup.